We throw around the word bankruptcy all the time, right? Sounds kind of, I don't know, boring, just another dry financial term. Well, what if I told you its history is actually super dramatic and get this, even a little violent? Yeah, let's dig into that. So it really all boils down to this one kind of weird question. What in the world does a broken bench have to do with money? I know, it sounds totally random, but trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see that the answer has been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Okay, so to get to that violent origin story, we've got to become word detectives. We need to unpack the word bankruptcy itself. And the clues? Well, you're not going to find them in some stuffy modern law book. Nope, they're hidden way back in the word's journey, starting in medieval Italy. And check this out. You can literally trace its path across Europe. It all starts in Italy with Banco Rotto. From there, it morphs a little bit into Banco Rota. Then it kind of hops over to France and becomes Banco Roots. And finally, it makes its way into English as the word we use constantly, bankruptcy. But here's the cool part. This isn't just about a word changing its spelling. It's the journey of a whole idea. All right, so to really get what this all means, we have to go back, way back. I want you to picture it. We're standing in the middle of a bustling, maybe a little chaotic, open-air market in medieval Italy. And here it is, the big reveal. Banco rotto. What does it mean? It literally translates to broken bench. That's it. That's the secret right there. So mystery solved, right? Well, kinda. The bigger question is, why a broken bench? What was that all about? Okay, so really try to picture this scene. We're in a place like Florence or Venice, one of the huge financial hubs of the time. Now, the moneylenders, the early bankers, they didn't have fancy offices. They had a banco, which is just a wooden bench, set up right in the public square. That was their desk, their storefront, their everything. And here's the kicker. If that lender failed, if they couldn't pay what they owed, the authorities would march right out there and physically smash their bench to pieces, right there in front of the whole town. This one single, very dramatic act, it did two things at once. First, it was pure public humiliation, a really harsh punishment for the lender who failed. But it was also, and this is key, a super important public service announcement. That pile of splinters, that broken bench, was a giant, unmistakable sign that screamed to everyone, hey, this guy is out of business. Whatever you do, do not give him your money. So you see how this all started out as a very local, very physical thing, right? One guy, one bench, one town square. But pretty soon, this idea of a broken bench just exploded. It became a metaphor so powerful that it wasn't just for small-time lenders anymore. It was used to describe the collapse of entire financial empires. I mean, take the 1340s. You had two of the biggest, most powerful banking families in all of Europe, the Peruzzi and the Bardi, and they both go under. Why? Well, it turns out their number one client, King Edward III of England, just decided not to pay back his massive war loans. He just defaulted. Suddenly, we're not talking about one broken bench in a little piazza. This was a financial earthquake, the kind of thing that sent shockwaves across the whole continent. And yet, even for this huge international crisis, what's the word everyone reached for? You guessed it, bancarrota. That really visceral, physical image of a single broken bench was now the go-to symbol for financial failure on a massive, massive scale. The metaphor wasn't just a metaphor anymore. It was the way people talked about it. And that brings us to the next really crucial turning point in this whole story. This is where we see the idea of bankruptcy transform from being seen as, a moral crime that deserved punishment into what we know today, a structured legal process. A really important date here is 1542. That's when England passes its very first Bankruptcy Act. But listen, this was not about giving someone a fresh start. Not at all. It basically treated being bankrupt as a crime. The punishment? Often, it was prison. So that old idea of public shaming from the Italian marketplace, it was now officially the law of the land. And this is where you can really see the massive difference between then and now. The whole mindset shifted. We went from viewing bankruptcy as this moral failure, something close to being a criminal or a fraud, to understanding it as, well, an economic reality that needs a process. The whole goal changed. It wasn't about punishing the person anymore. It was about figuring out how to resolve the financial mess in a way that protected everyone involved, both the people who were owed money and the person who owed it. And that right there is the fundamental shift. It took centuries, but the legal system slowly, finally figured out that, hey, throwing people in jail doesn't actually help anyone get their money back. So the goal changed. It went from punishment to recovery. Okay, so let's bring this whole thing full circle, back to right now, because this entire wild history is still hiding inside that word we use every day. When you think about it, bankruptcy today is this huge, complex legal machine, right? It's a very orderly, or at least it's supposed to be orderly framework for dealing with debt. It's a tool for an economic reset. It feels like it's a million miles away from the noise and the chaos of that medieval market square. But it's not. Every single time you or I say the word bankruptcy, we are, without even knowing it, talking about that old, dramatic public ritual. We're literally saying that a business is broken, just like that wooden bench was broken, smashed into splinters, in a town square hundreds and hundreds of years ago. The history isn't gone, it's right there, baked into the word itself. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Our entire modern world is built on top of these ancient words, like little ghosts of old ideas and forgotten traditions. It just makes you wonder, what other amazing histories are we saying out loud every single day with absolutely no idea we're doing it?